Lindsay. Of course. Welcome, y'all. How's it going? We're at Lincoln Park right now. I'm Lisa Zander. I'm a master native plant steward for Lincoln Park. Well, I try to do no damage over here at least. I work with Sharon Baker and Lisa McGinty. I also work with Susan Brimhall and Kathy Davis, and we are the stewards that are taking care of Lincoln Park through FLIP, Friends of Lincoln Park. So follow us on Instagram. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining. Before I go any further, I just want to give a land acknowledgement. The original stewards here on this land are the Coast Salish and the Duwamish. So when we see what we see around here, when we picture in our mind what a wild, beautiful place would look like, we're picturing the land that they built and curated. So it's an honor to be here at Lincoln Park, a place that brings me much joy and fills my soul. Let's see, my teachers are Sharon Baker, of course. She's taught me most of what I know here, and the readings of Robin Wall Kimmerer. I studied ecology at Prescott College, and I became trained as a master native plant steward thanks to the partnership between Green Seattle Partnership, Forterra, and the Washington Native Plant Community. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna go on a walk, and I'd like you to introduce yourselves in the comments. Tell me what your connection is to this park. What are you interested in seeing? If you have questions or knowledge to share, I don't know anything, I do know things. I don't know everything, so don't be shy, speak up, shout out. Here we are. We've got some rhododendrons blooming. How many people have these blooming in their yard right now? I am a big fan of seeing those little dots there. Beautiful. Little nectar guides, perhaps. Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for joining from LA. I love it. All right, we're gonna just do a little periphery walk, and then we'll go deep into the Lincoln Park. It's so good to be here at Lincoln Park. This is not a native plant, but this is a plum tree. And here we have some plums. They're pretty hard and small, but we got fruit forming, which is exciting. Seems early for fruit, but I guess not. We're trucking along, end of May here. Yesterday we had a lot of rain, so these plants, I bet, are soaking it up and growing fast, fruits forming. We've got a nice little thimbleberry thicket here on the side of the park. I noticed that a lot of white plants flowers are blooming right now. Does anyone else do that? Notice what colors of plants are really popular at a certain time of year? I feel like I'm seeing a lot of white. So this is the thimbleberry. Beautiful. Who loves thimbleberries? Who is going to be keeping their eyes open and eating one on every finger, just like a thimble? Awesome. I also wanted to point out, huge shout out to all the Forterra and Green Seattle peeps, Eric, Michael, Lisa. Here's from Michael. Michael and I are big madrone buddies. Well, I think we're madrone buddies. So yeah, here's a madrone, and here's what they're doing right now. They've got some flowers, okay, but they also have some wilting flowers. So they're starting to move off into their fruit phase, which is exciting. Moths. Good one, Maya. So maybe moths are more active right now in the Northwest. So speaking of flowers and pollinators, one of my favorite things when I'm doing a walk anywhere, anytime, is to, we've got the lawnmower. Shout out to we got a honk. That's awesome. Shout out to the crew that's keeping the parks in good shape while a lot of us are away. Ooh, I just saw a bee. Exciting stuff. So yeah, when I'm going on a walk, I'm always looking to see what things are doing at each particular day, even if it's a park like Lincoln where I go all the time. I'm like, what's happening today though with this plant? So today this thimbleberry is forming fruit, and today this thimbleberry is forming flowers. And another word for that is phenology. And I think getting that in your vocabulary, happy bee week, that's right. Getting phenology into your vocabulary I think is important because it's a good lens for looking at the native world, for always looking and noticing and seeing. Hey, look at, it's our friend Stinky Bob. Somebody else tell me, is this a big Stinky Bob week or what? Or week, year. Is this a big year for Stinky Bob? I feel like it's everywhere. This plant kind of smells like gasoline when you pick it. And I know because I pick it all the time because it's an invasive weed. But it's easy. You get down into it, and there's always like a little cluster, a little star cluster. Reach in and grab it and then yank. And then get this guy. If it has flowers on it, you want to throw that in the trash so no seeds end up planting themselves. I'll come back and pick that one up. All right, does anyone have any comments, questions, knowledge they'd like to share? Who's here right now? I've got 10 folks. That's exciting. We've got Maya, who's been setting these plant walks up for you and just keeping things together at Forterra. Thank you, Maya. Ooh, here we have a beaked hazelnut. These are my favorite to touch because they're so soft. So soft. Just gently touch it. Let's see, what are they doing this time of year? They've got some new leaf growth happening. I feel like I've seen little buds forming, little catkin buds, or did those already pop out? Oh, look what I just found. Look what I just found. Oh my God, you saw it here first, people. Look at that. What is that? Is it an insect gall? Is it a parasite? No. This is the fruit forming. This is the hazelnuts forming too. Usually the beaked hazelnuts have two kind of joined right here. So, hi Sam, thanks man. So yeah, love keeping an eye on those. Has anyone ever eaten a hazelnut? A wild native hazelnut? How do those taste? Okay, another thing I love paying attention to this time of year is the new growth coming out. May is such a wonderful time to see all the good work these plants are doing this year. How impressive is this? That's a lot of growth for one year. I feel like when we look at trees, they just seem to be hanging out all the time, but they're growing, and this is the time of year to notice new growth. Here is some new growth on a salal friend. Salals are sticky. I love seeing salal healthy and growing. I feel like I've seen some dieback happening in this region, and so anytime I see a nice brand new shiny leaf, I feel relaxed. So, oh look, a beaver den. Just kidding, that's not a beaver den. That is a debris pile, compost pile from us when we're pulling weeds. Oh no, what's this guy? Okay. I'm glad we ran into this guy. Does anyone know what this is? How many of you right now are like, oh my God, so beautiful? You're not wrong. It's very beautiful. What is this guy? Who knows? Don't be shy. This is not my plant walk. This is our plant walk. By the way, I'm Lisa Zander. I'm a Master Native Plant Steward at Lincoln Park in West Seattle. What is this guy? Very beautiful. Ooh, get in there. Look at all those dots. Okay, this is a foxglove, and here's some good news, bad news. Yeah, good job. Now we're hitting it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, good news, bad news. Good news is it's okay to pick it and enjoy it in your home. Bad news, I want you to do that because it's a non-native invasive plant. So that's the upswing of knowing your invasive plants, is those are the ones you can feel good about picking and putting in a vase. So pick them when you find them. I'll come back for that one. All right, we're kind of getting deep into Lincoln Park here. What do we got? Let's listen for a second. I hear some birds in this clearing. just beautiful. Look at those big leaf maples. Whoever named them was quite literal. I'm amazed at how big they get, how fast. These guys were just coming out about a month ago, and now look, big as my face. Another white flower I've been noticing a lot is trailing blackberry. Who's a big fan of trailing blackberry? Not to be mistaken with Himalayan blackberry, who I'm not a big fan of. So what do we know about trailing blackberry? When people get upset about us pulling blackberries because they love them, they're delicious. Well, my favorite thing to share is that these guys are better. This is our native blackberry, Rubus ursinus, and these are not beautiful looking flowers right now, but these I would argue are way more delicious than Himalayan blackberry, like far, far, far more delicious. Well, this here will probably never be a berry because, pro tip, trailing blackberries are what we call dioecious. They are destructive. Himalayan blackberries, they're destructive to the landscape. I don't know about causing homes to fall. Maybe. Does anyone know about that happening? I've definitely seen them swallow things up around here in the Northwest. So trailing blackberry, our native friendly blackberry, it likes to stay low to the ground. Notice it doesn't have major thick thorns. It's very slender, has little 3 leaflets. So this plant is actually a boy plant. Trailing blackberries are what we call dioecious, which means 2 houses. And think of it this way, the boys live in one house, one plant, the girls live in another house, another plant. Does anyone want to guess, is this a girl or a boy? What do you think is on these little, do you think this is pollen? Or do you think this is a receptacle for pollen? I don't know, it's kind of rubbing off on my finger. If you guessed this was a boy plant, you are correct. Let's see if we can find a girl plant on our journeys. So yeah, trailing blackberry, so delicious. Here's another fun flower you can pick and not feel bad about, as long as it makes it into the compost bin eventually. I get a shrug. Hi Emily, my roommate's here. My friends are here. This is an English daisy. It's not native, so feel free to pick it, put it behind your ear, make a sweet little daisy chain for someone you love. I love pickables, especially for kids. Hi. Because I feel like touching plants, picking plants, interacting with them is so important for building a relationship, a lasting relationship. So yeah, these are what I like to call pickables. Awesome. All right. Oh, we've got a little crow. Woo. Hi, buddy. Beautiful. It's enjoying this little drinking puddle. Thank you, Rain, for a little drinking puddle for our buddy the crow here. I've heard that ravens also are in Lincoln Park. Has anyone heard that? Hi.
Hi.
All right. It's kind of quiet here, but it's nice to see some people out. Social distancing, wearing their masks. Ooh, here's a good one to watch. I love this plant. So, going back to thinking about phenology and keeping an eye, visiting the same place again and again and watching what happens, one of my favorite mysteries is having a plant catch my eye and then seeing what happens. Like what flower is going to form here? Does anyone know this plant? It gets quite tall. Look at how there's a bunch of it. This is a native plant. It grows up in Alaska. It grows down into Southern California. Here's a hint. It likes to come out after fire. It's one of those early plants that covers the landscape after a fire. No, anybody? I think the leaves have medicinal uses, although I'm not sure what. Oh, here's some more trailing blackberry. Yes, fireweed. That's right. I love me some fireweed. They're prolific seeders too, so I don't typically feel bad about taking their seeds. Oh, it's another boy plant. Scott, do you have anything you'd like to share about fireweed? By the way, I'm a science teacher in my other life, so I might call on you like I call on my students. Oh, look, here's a trash can where you can throw away your stinky bob that you find on the side of the trail. Oh, here's a little native buttercup. I can't remember the name of this one. Someone help me out. I'm a little rusty. Is anyone else in the springtime getting kind of rusty and have to run for their plant books again? I feel like some of my plant names atrophy in the winter, and then it's time to learn them all again in the spring. This is a native buttercup. It's lovely to see growing on the side of the trail. Oh, here's another great native on the side of the trail, a nice annual. I love this plant. It's so easy to overlook. But when we're pulling plants in the spring, that's one way we like to focus our attention, because birds are nesting. Birds are nesting in the undergrowth in the spring. So as native plant stewards in Lincoln Park, we like to refocus our attention on pulling annuals before they go to seed along the trail. But whenever we see this guy, we leave it alone. This is a native annual. And wow, how is this thing surviving and thriving? This is Enchanter's Nightshade. And we leave it alone because it goes to seed and then it's gone for much of the year. So right now it's prime Enchanter's Nightshade time. And it's actually not a nightshade. Nightshades are the Solanaceae family. It's not a nightshade at all. It's actually a member of the evening primrose family. So if you had a little hand lens and got up close, you would see that each little teeny tiny white flower has 4 petals. That's the other thing. I'm a big fan of just pausing and zooming in with your eyeballs. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Beautiful plant, Enchanter's Nightshade. Okay, try not to step on that. So who all here likes to come to Lincoln Park? What is your favorite thing about the park? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. What do you love about Lincoln Park? Has anyone not been to Lincoln Park? Let's see, do we have any girl? I see another trailing blackberry. Nope. Man, look at these beautiful trails. The beach and the seals, yes, totally. That is where I get my zen back, is that beach walk. So, as a native plant steward at Lincoln Park's about 135 acres, and 80 of those acres are like what we're walking through right now. Yeah, the beach and the trails. The forest part, there's 80 acres of this, and that's where we focus. Look at this, more salal growth. I love it. About half of that 80 acres is in active restoration. Ooh, look at those hairs. And restoration started in Lincoln Park in 2005, which is also the same year that Green Seattle Partnership started. And that was started by Sharon Baker, who I'll just mention again and again. She's the queen bee here, her and Lisa McGinty. And Lisa has taken over for Sharon as the key forest steward, although Sharon's still here, but now she just gets to focus on pulling weeds. Oh, I found it finally. Here, this is different, right? Remember the first blackberry I showed you with all the little brown dots? The anthers? Here is the female. So this is the one that will be fruit. This is the one that we're gonna eat the moment we see it, because I just can't help myself. I try to save berries for the wild things that live here, but oh my gosh, I need to have one. It's good for the soul. Awesome. So the first thing they did in 2005 was a lot of these trees were just coated in ivy. This was a very different forest 15 years ago. Oh, a squirrel. Let's see if we can see it without harassing it. A lot of ivy, a lot of blackberries been pulled in the last 15 years. But now that we've started the restoration, we have to keep going. Because we're in the middle of a city and we're only 80 acres of forest, we have to maintain and keep building that relationship of being stewards of this land. So consider that. Consider what you can do to maintain your relationship with the land and keep this place beautiful. It has a different vibe. I bet a lot of you love Lincoln Park because of the vibe it has. You can just feel it when you go to a forest that's being well taken care of. And the forests have always been taken care of by humans. Thanks so much for joining, everybody. Look at all that bright green salal leaves. I'm just loving it. Oh, here's another great little forb. I love this one. This one is so simple. It's another springtime forb. We call this one's pretty far gone. When it's pink, it means it's been pollinated, I believe. This is a Pacific Star plant. No, what's the name of this plant? I know it by its Latin name, Trientalis. Arctic star, Pacific star flower. There we go. I got it. Now these are cool. When you look at these Pacific star flowers, sometimes they have 6 petals, sometimes they have more. Look at this old one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 petals. To me, it's like the native version of a 4-leaf clover. When you find one with 7 petals, you've just... Oh, look at that teeny little bug. That's good luck. So yeah, little Arctic stars. So usually they're bright white. So these pink ones are pretty far, they're pretty far gone at this point. Oh my God, how many petals is on this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy cow, 8 petals. What a little go-getter. Yeah, I'm this dorky in real life, don't worry. Sometimes I've seen them with 5. So that's crazy to me. Like, how many flowers go between 5 and 8 petals? That just blows my mind. Okay. Oh, and this is a member of the primrose family. Yeah, this one's super duper lucky. So yeah, I just want to put my 2 nature walk pitches are keep going to the same place again and again throughout the year and see what changes. That's one. And then my second pitch I like to put out to people is, as much as we want to go outside and go really far, get those miles in, I'm totally guilty of that. I'm like, gotta get my exercise. I've been inside all day. We gotta make ourselves slow down and count petals and touch leaves. So, is this Native Plant Month? I think May is Native Plant Month. Is that right, Maya? Look, another beaver nest. Just kidding. Another compost pile. So this, I'll just talk about compost piles for just a second. So we basically, when we do our work pulling the stuff that doesn't belong here, we put it in a big pile so it can fade away and begin decomposting. Oh, April was. Every month is Native Plant Month for me. And then we like take a rake and put it back on the forest floor, and that way all the nutrients stay here. Yeah, right? Especially for the Pacific Northwest, it should be Native Plant Month. Here's some more enchanters. Real superhero, I think, Enchanter's Nightshade. Easy to overlook. In Lincoln Park, I feel like our sword fern are doing really well. Sword fern are great because they're always around all year long, But this time of year, they're still sending out new fronds, which I love. There's something so whimsical about an unfurling frond. Could be a good punk band name, Unfurling Fronds. Just kidding. And then next to it, we have a bracken fern, which goes away in the winter and then pops back up now. This one looks like it kind of got thwarted somehow, but there it is, a bracken fern. God, it's just so beautiful and quiet. I hear a hummingbird. All right. Anybody have anything they want me to look for, or any special requests? Any questions? Any comments? Collectively, we 13 people probably have a lot of knowledge here worth sharing. Look at this. Oof. This is osoberry or Indian plum. I wonder if this one has any plums forming. Does anyone else? For me, I moved here from the desert, and for me, right away I realized this is one of the first plants to bloom in the spring. And so it's the first thing I'm looking for. How many types of ferns are at Lincoln? That's a good question. Sharon Baker, my Lincoln Park queen, sent me a plant list, and I feel like there's like 5 or 6. I think there's deer, lady fern, licorice fern for sure, and of course we saw sword fern and bracken fern. There's some others that didn't quite stick with my brain because I'm not as familiar with them, but yeah, there's probably like 5 or 6 or more ferns, not to mention the mosses and the lichens. Yeah. Ooh, I knew it. Here we go. If you've been with me for this whole time, I've got a pop quiz for you. Look at. Okay, first off, we've been looking at these leaves. What flower does this belong to? Do you guys remember what plant this is? Deer, licorice, bracken, lady, sword. That makes sense, Maya. Okay, we haven't seen this flower yet, but we've noticed this plant. It's super sticky. It kind of grosses me out and is awesome at the same time. Bees love it. Bumblebees love this plant. Yeah, salal. Good job. Salal plant. And so here's the real pop quiz. What other plant did we look at that has similar flowers? Was anyone following us this whole time and paying that close of attention? Or, what flower does this remind you of? Where have you seen this before? Trust yourself. You know. Where has this flower shape been in your world? Is it familiar? They like to call this a little bell shape. Anybody? I like looking at the tops. And then I like flipping them over and looking inside. All right, maybe if you can think back to the madrone, very similar flower shape. And maybe if you have a blueberry bush in your yard right now, you may have noticed that the blueberry bush looks very similar. Also huckleberries. Yeah, madrone. Man, I think there's some lag time on comments. Yeah, manzanitas. You got it. And why is that? My awesome co-walkers, native plant walkers, why do these plants all have similar shaped flowers? Do you think? Is it a coincidence? Or are they all closely related? And they are all members of the heath or heather family, the Ericaceae. Love it. I love that family. I've noticed there's like 1 billion members of the Ericaceae in the Northwest. Maybe not 1 billion. Okay, I made that up. There's not 1 billion, but yeah, they're family. They're related. Okay, now which blackberry is this? Pop quiz. Male or female? Were you guys paying attention? Male or female trailing blackberry? I hope that some of you are now going to be like me looking for those female, because this is the one you, oh, I gave it away. Well, this is the one you got to look. That was my alarm because we have been walking and talking for 30 whole minutes. I got to see what's around this corner though. Thank you so much for joining. This has been fun. I feel like I could do this all day long. Oh yeah, here's a bizarre little thicket. A little meadow. Maybe we need to do some meadow restoration here at Lincoln Park. That would be a real fun job. Put a little camas in here. That would be nice. Okay, here's where we've pulled. There used to be a bunch of blackberry right here and we pulled that. All right, well, when all this craziness is over, I hope it finds you happy and healthy. And if you want to visit Lincoln Park and be part of the magic, get to know this wonderful place, and then give back, we have work parties here. Hi, it's me, Lisa Zander. We have work parties at Lincoln Park on the first Saturday and third Sunday of every single month. The only thing that keeps us away is gale force winds that could send a branch on our heads. Otherwise, we're here. It doesn't matter how cold or snowy or sunny, we're here. So I hope you all will consider joining us, and I just want to say thanks again to my co-stewards who've taught me a lot of what I know here at Lincoln Park, to the Washington Native Plant Society and Joy Wood, who led the steward training I did with them, of course Forterra, and the Green Seattle Partnership. Thanks to all my friends and new friends who joined me, and keep following along, and I hope you have a beautiful spring and summer. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.